We've decided to continue remote learning for the rest of the school year for our K through 12 public schools.
New at 4, Governor Roy Cooper announces that students will not return to the classroom for the rest of the school year. Good afternoon and welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Taheshah and Eric Chilton. So what happens next for students?
WFMY News 2's Alma McCarty is breaking down what the future holds. Alma.
Well, Governor Cooper said that this is not a decision state leaders came to lightly. He understands that parents, students, teachers, entire school districts really had to rework their learning plans seemingly overnight because of this coronavirus crisis. Now, originally, the working plan was to have students back in the classrooms in the middle of May. But as of just a few hours ago, we learned that will not be the case. Students will not be returning to school buildings, although remote learning will continue.
Many students will need additional help to regain ground that could be lost in this school year. I support the state board and the Department of Public Instruction's effort to plan for an intensive learning program for students who require it.
Now, in addition, state leaders say they are actively working on a plan to reopen schools next year, but it will not be back to business as usual because they predict the virus will still be with us.
There will be new measures in place to protect health when school buildings open again next year. This pandemic will be with us for some time, but I have every confidence that we will find a way to get schools open safely in the new school year.
The governor also announced 2 partnerships with some pretty big companies, one with AT&T, one with Duke Energy, where these companies will roll hotspots out on buses to communities that might have trouble getting access to the internet. Stick with us. I'll have more coming up at 5.
Alma, thank you. Parents, of course, have a lot of opinions about this huge announcement. WFMY News 2's Jess Winter spoke with them. Let's check in with her to see how they're reacting. She is live from Guilford County Schools.
I reached out to a ton of parents. Overwhelmingly, many said, yes, absolutely, this was the right call. Better be safe than sorry. And then a couple parents I spoke with were indifferent. They said, sure, this was a good call. What would be the point of going to school for 2 or 3 weeks? And then you had some upset parents who says this puts them in a bad spot with their jobs. What about online teaching? They can't keep doing it. What about prom? What about graduation? Bottom line, this was a tough call and you can't please everybody.
Initially, I thought that this was just going to be very temporary.
I think it's better to be safe than sorry. I don't want to risk them getting sick. So,
well, I deal with a lot of small business owners, and now they've got to stay at home to watch the kids and do the schooling with them. So you're kind of stuck there.
Nobody wants to get sick, and we have to. Not everybody is going to agree with the governor. You know, there's a lot of protests out right now and everything, but is it better being safe than sorry? Absolutely. I mean, we don't want the spike to go back up.
Now that we know online learning will continue for the next couple of weeks, I asked parents, how are you handling all of this? Are you making it work? Are you at your wits' end? So I'll have those answers coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5 and 6. I also talked to GCS and they said they will be making some modifications.
Jess, thank you. Yes, Governor Cooper made that announcement around 2 o'clock this afternoon, but Taheshah, many people were not surprised about that, especially after he announced his plans to reopen the state yesterday and how that's going to look over the next couple of months.
Yeah, Maddie, and although people may not be surprised by the news, it doesn't make it any less devastating, for those kids who were probably looking forward to spending the last couple of weeks away from school, trying to recoup and regather with friends. I know a big question is graduation, prom. Are schools going to be doing anything special for those students, maybe virtually? We'll have to wait and find out for that.
Absolutely. That is the conversation, though, on our Facebook page, Taheshah, and we want to take a look at some of your comments this afternoon. Cammie McKinney said, I know it's best, but I do hate it for the kids. Such a disruption for them all. Another commenter, we'll scroll here. Wendy said, I have a granddaughter who has asthma and had the flu twice this school year. I feel it's best for the kids and my heart goes out to all. Another comment from Joanne said, good decision. Why take a chance for just a few weeks? At least he is looking out for the well-being of the children and the teachers and the families. And one more comment here, our final one. Bill says, I hope child care assistance will be provided as working class parents begin to return to their jobs soon. Yeah, Eric, as a parent, how are you digesting this news, right? Because all 4 of your children will now be at home.
Yes, well, and it's been that way for a while. With the 2 older ones who are in high school, that's not really as big of an issue. But I'm telling you, as a parent of 2 elementary age kids as well, the homeschooling is very difficult to keep up with and when you're trying to work. I know a lot of parents feel the same way I do, and sometimes you feel a bit overwhelmed, and you almost can't get to everything when you have multiple kids. But you do the best you can, and I'm interested. We mentioned a little bit earlier when I believe it was Jess that was saying that they may be talking about some restructuring in the way they handle the distance learning for the kids. It'd be interesting to see how all that pans out. I'm sure they're getting an earful from parents.
Right. I've heard from many parents and teachers on our Facebook page who say they're worried about what the next school year will look like. And Governor Cooper says he recognized that the fall semester is going to look different as well.
Yeah, and I think they have to because of the way that it's going. And for a lot of the schools, like for my older kids, they're just basically doing pass-fail at this point just to get them through this year. And it's going to be interesting to see how all this pans out with colleges for seniors and all of this.
Right, absolutely, yes. The State Board of Education released some new requirements and guidelines for grading today, and we're going to get to those coming up just a little bit later on.
Davidson County health officials say 2 more people died from the coronavirus. Both were residents at Alston Brook in Lexington. One resident was admitted to Wake Forest Baptist Health earlier this week before they passed away. The other passed away at the Alston Brook nursing home. Both were in their 80s and had underlying health conditions. The Davidson County health officials, Davidson County has now seen 4 total deaths from this virus.
All right, looking at a forecast, and boy, do we have an interesting 24 hours coming up for you. I'll say 24 plus because things could get a little bit dicey for us over the next little bit. Notice the temperatures, though, how nice we are. It's 77 degrees in the Triad, 80 in Elizabeth City, Wilmington at 77. So our overnight lows tonight are comfortable, 54. That's what you'll see in the morning. Clouds do build in. Now, our big question mark will be tomorrow. We watch clouds build in late day storms, but the big question is, will they be severe in nature? There is that possibility. This is a big system moving in, but as usual, even when we're talking about severe thunderstorms sometimes and not just snow, we're right on the edge of this. If so much cool air settles in that it doesn't really break apart, we won't see severe weather. But if we warm up substantially tomorrow and rather quickly, we could actually see some heavy thunderstorms. And there's a very, very low risk of tornadoes. But again, we're on that line and we're going to keep you posted. We'll have the 7-day and we'll look at tomorrow a little more in depth coming up.
Hello, mic check. Does my audio sound bad? Mic check, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. Let's get you caught up on the headlines with your 4 to 5 roundup this afternoon. President Donald Trump signed the nearly $500 billion coronavirus bill into law this afternoon. The money will go toward the small business loan program as well as more funding for hospitals and testing. The money will also replenish the Paycheck Protection Program that you've likely heard a lot about recently. It was created by the first coronavirus bill, the CARES Act. Well, there are now 6 new coronavirus symptoms on the CDC's list, tripling the number of original symptoms. The CDC says a wide range of symptoms have been reported. Chills, repeated shaking with chills, muscle pain, headache, sore throat, and new loss of taste or smell are now on the list, along with fever, shortness of breath, and a dry cough. The parent company of Lysol disinfectant is sending out a warning that its product should not be used internally to treat COVID-19. The message comes after President Trump wondered about the prospect during a White House briefing. Trump noted that researchers were looking at the effects of disinfectants on the virus and wondered aloud if they could be injected into people. Lysol's company says their product should not be administered into the human body. The White House says Trump's comment was misrepresented, and today the president told reporters that he was being sarcastic. Well, because of the virus, NICUs across the country are limiting visitors. In most hospitals, only one parent can visit their baby at a time. But a new app hopes to ease the stress of parenting a baby in the NICU. It was designed by Northwestern, and parents can use it to check in on their babies from afar. It will also give them updates throughout the day about vital signs. The app includes a private social media platform to connect with friends and family and share updates about the baby.
And back here in the Triad, coronavirus is now affecting healthcare jobs. Wake Forest Baptist Health announcing today that it plans to furlough up to 20,000 workers. A spokesperson said many employees will experience some sort of flexing in time or pay. The company says they are focusing resources and minimizing changes that could affect patients and frontline clinical staff. Furloughs will take place at varying levels starting in May. In addition, leaders and executives of Wake Forest Baptist Health will give up a percentage of their salaries. No additional layoffs or pay cuts are planned. And an AP poll shows that Americans feel hopeful about their careers even though they've lost their jobs.
Yes, Taheshah, according to that poll, 1 out of every 4 Americans say someone in their house lost their job. 8 in 10 people believe they'll get their jobs back once the pandemic is over. Now, the poll also showed some good news. The number of people surveyed who said someone in their house had lost a job, that number has not increased over time. Still, there are, of course, questions about the future. What happens when the pandemic ends? What does life look like? A CBS News poll shows more than half of Americans believe our lives will be different. 54% of them think that day-to-day life, the way we eat out, how we interact with friends and family, and how we work will look different forever. 46% of people say they feel things will go back to normal at some point. We'll be right back.
Hey there, check 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. Mic checking the mic, micing the check. So it's a viral campaign that has a lot of parents smiling. Now imagine having one of our heroes, I'm talking about our first responders, reading their favorite children's book to your kids at bedtime. It's pretty cool. I spoke with a firefighter locally who brought this challenge to the Triad. Take a look.
You'll ask for paper and crayons.
Una casa cálida y segura.
I was walking down the road and I saw a donkey.
Was waiting for them right next to a big red fire truck.
Anything to stay connected, right? Yep, that's exactly what we're talking about. Eric Watts joins us now, and we're talking about something that you saw on the web that you thought, you know what, first responders can share in this and kind of help some kids out at the same time. Talk about how you discovered this and what it is.
Yeah, I just happened to be on Facebook. I'm part of Fire and Life Safety with McLeansville Fire Department, and I'm a part of several groups on Facebook, and came across one called the First Responders Reading Challenge. It was started by Brittany Lofthouse, who's the chairman of Safe Kids in Macon County. She started it, her and her husband, just wanting to read to their kids that were still at home, and then decided to try to get other people to tag along with it, and didn't see anybody around here really participating in it. So I decided that instead of waiting to be challenged, I was just going to go ahead and step up and do it myself and try to get it going around in the Triad.
The night is near, today is done, it's time for bed, my fuzzy one.
Basically, it's kind of like the Ice Bucket Challenge, except it's with first responders, and you pick a book to read at nighttime for the kids, and then anybody can get on and the kids can watch their firefighters and police officers and paramedics read a story to them, and then you just challenge 3 other people to do it along.
Very good, Eric. That's some good stuff, my friend. Good luck with that, and we'll get more of our first responders reading our kids to sleep. That's a wonderful thing during this time.
Super cool, Maddie. It made me start thinking about some of the books that I read to my little ones. There was one called Goodnight Gorilla they loved, and then all the typical, Goodnight Moon and all of those. It's just, it's good stuff. It brings back a lot of memories for me.
Yeah, I've said it before. My sister's expecting twins at the start of June, end of May, and she's been collecting books for their bedtime library, and Goodnight Moon was definitely on the top of the list. There was also one that a friend sent her, the Pout Pout Fish. I don't know. I don't remember any of these books from when I was growing up. But maybe we'll look into the Pout Pout Fish.
Yeah, I haven't heard that one, though. I'll look into it. I asked everybody, though, on Facebook, I was saying, what were some of the memories you had of reading to your kids? So I'm going to show you some of these answers, because some of them I knew, some of them I didn't. But Kathy, who chimes in a lot on our feed there, she said, my favorite is, and I can tell you Drew and Tyler both love this one, Alexander and the Terrible, Horrible, No Good, Very Bad Day. It is a very funny book, by the way. Heather Rampton says, when my girls were very little, they loved anything by Sandra Boynton. Boy, mine did too. Moo Ba, La La La, The Belly Button Book, Barnyard Dance, etc. They were the best for littles. And Marissa Munoz says, our current favorites are Little Blue Truck, Little Excavator, Iggy Peck Architect, and What Wonderful Things You Will Be. All great books there. And I love children's books. To me are so cute. But The Giving Tree, Maddie, is one that you can read as an adult and get something out of every stage of your life.
Absolutely. My most vivid memory of bedtime stories, I was too smart for my own good, and I knew my dad was skipping words, trying to get through the book faster. And I said something about it. And then from there on out, I didn't get bedtime stories anymore. So, yeah, that was, I had to be a
Why
smarty
does that
pants.
not surprise me? That does not surprise me at all.
It shouldn't surprise you. So just, if you're reading to Drew tonight, she knows when you're skipping the words, Chilton.
She does. Well, now she reads to me, so I've kind of crossed that threshold.
Yeah, but I love that the first responders are doing this. I think that's awesome, and it really gives them a chance to connect with the community, build those bridges. And celebrities are doing this as well on their Instagram pages. I know Dolly Parton does it live on YouTube on Thursday nights at 7. So, I mean, who doesn't want Dolly to read them to bed too?
Right, that'd be awesome. By the way, just a quick shout out if I have time to do this. That's Captain Eric Watts from the McLeansville Fire Department that did that, and he's spreading the word here in the Triad. So good for him.
Thank you so much. All right, we're going to break, but remember we are live on Facebook throughout the entire show. Join our conversation. Use our hashtag 4to5. Maybe share some bedtime stories with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back to your 4 to 5. Behind the doctors and the nurses fighting hard against the coronavirus are hospital housekeepers cleaning and disinfecting to stop the spread. Esther Reed cleans for Novant Health, and she says her cleaning is pretty much the same, but she's a hugger. She loves to greet everyone with a smile, so wearing a mask and social distancing means she's more motivated than ever to show care with her cleaning and find other ways to show patients, coworkers, and medical staff that she's here for them.
Say hello to them and greet them. I hope, hoping they having a good day, because, everybody might not be, but just to lift somebody up, and say hello or good morning.
Reed says when it's safe, she cannot wait to greet patients with her smiles and her hugs once again. Taheshah, I love her energy, and this goes out to all first responders, everyone out there on the front lines, the doctors, the nurses, the janitorial staff, the grocery store workers, the truck drivers, everyone on a very long list who's keeping this country moving during the pandemic.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that we do mention, and then there are people like Esther, who I feel doesn't get the recognition that they deserve, because they are doing a big deal here, keeping all of these places sanitized for everyone to be able to go into. And I feel for Esther when she says that she's a hugger, because I myself am too. And honestly, that's been one of the hardest things. Is I see people, I see you through the screen, and I'm like, I want to give you a hug. I miss all my friends, so I'm just waiting for this to be over, and I'm going to give everyone I love the biggest hug ever.
Yeah, thanks for the warning. Now I know it's coming when I see you the next time. I'm sure I'll welcome hugs by that time, right? Not really been much of a hugger lately, but inspired by Esther's story there, I want to give a big shout out to our janitorial staff here at the station, our man Kenny, who is coming multiple times a day to make sure everything is safe and disinfected, and he slipped me a bottle of Clorox wipes on my desk the other day just so I can make sure my area is clean too. So thank you, Kenny, the real MVP there.
I agree.
All right, Chilton, what you got for us?
Well, we're looking at a forecast. By the way, I can second that about Kenny. That guy's awesome. He is the coolest guy around, by the way, and can run like the wind. That guy is so fast. He runs marathons all the time. I digress. Let's talk about a forecast, which we're looking at the rain possibly moving in, maybe thunderstorms for Saturday afternoon. I want you to look at the radar. You can see a larger system out to our west. Now, we're in good shape for today and tonight. In fact, it's rather pleasant out there today, but that will change a little bit. Just to let you know, on Saturday, the severe thunderstorm risk, it's still low. We're in the marginal risk for almost the entire viewing area, except for our southern Virginia counties, which probably won't see very much in the way of severe weather. And you can see that color translates all across most of our counties there, except for the northern area right around the Virginia border. Storm impacts for this, probably looking anywhere from about 6 p.m. till maybe 2 a.m. in that time frame. It is low, the chance of this, but still the risk of damaging wind, maybe some hail, and a low risk of a tornado. But again, we're not expecting that. We will keep you posted. We'll be manning the computers tonight and into tomorrow for sure.
Hey, George. All right. Mic check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check. 1, 2, 3. Mic check. 4 to 5. Mic check. All right. Thank you.
Breaking news this afternoon, Governor Roy Cooper says schools will not reopen for the remainder of the school year. Welcome back to the 4 to 5. I'm Maddie Gardner here with Eric Chilton and Taheshah this afternoon. Governor Cooper says remote learning will continue for students for the rest of the school year, and leaders are getting ready for what's to come next year.
Already we know that even the next school year will not be business as usual. There will be new measures in place to protect health when school buildings open again next year.
Governor Cooper says we may be dealing with this pandemic for a while, but expects to do what can be done to reopen schools for the upcoming year. Some notes here. The State Board of Education adopted a new policy today, eliminating student letter grades for the rest of the semester. High school students have the option to get one of those traditional grades if they'd like. Middle school students, however, will be on a pass or fail system. Elementary school students will not get grades for the year. State Superintendent Mark Johnson says this will not be the new normal for North Carolina schools. He says this difficult decision was made for the health and safety of students and staff. Well, with this new information coming out about schools, we want to check in with you. Get out your phone or your tablet. It is time to vote. You've been helping your child learn since March. So how effective do you think e-learning has been for students? Your options here: very effective, somewhat effective, or not effective. You can use our free News 2 app to vote, or go to WFMY.com/vote now. Right now, it looks like about 49% of you, excuse me, that screen's pretty far away here. My eyesight's going bad. 49% of you are saying it is not effective. 45% of you say it is somewhat effective. Well, many are reacting to the fact that kids will not be going back to classrooms this year. They're posting their comments about it online. Digital guru Brian Bennett is here to break down how people are feeling and reacting to this news.
Yeah, so Maddie, a lot of people are saying that it was a really tough decision, but a decision that needed to be made. Let's jump right into your comments here. We're going to start off with Wayne. He said, "Did anyone expect anything different? Would be senseless to reopen schools for the remaining few weeks." We go on to Alicia, who says, "My heart is broken for my kids, especially my 5th graders heading off to middle school and all the middle school / high school seniors." All right. Diane says this was a great decision. And we also have another Diane here in the triad who I think says it pretty perfectly. She says, "I think he had no other choice. I would hate for the kids to go back and be at risk of getting COVID-19. My heart goes out to all the kids, especially to the seniors who have missed so many things that make a senior year special." The people have spoken, Maddie.
Brian, thank you so much. And you are still weighing in on our interactive question of the day. How effective do you think online learning has been for students? Another look at the results here. 49% of you, with the majority, are saying it has not been effective. But keep voting. Again, WFMY.com/vote now or the News 2 app, because we're going to take another look at those results again at 5 o'clock.
Let's get you caught up on your headlines of the day with the 4 to 5 roundup. Triad universities are going to be getting more than $53 million in help because of the CARES Act. Local community colleges will share $23 million from the act. And according to our partners at the Triad Business Journal, the money may not be enough for the schools. Triad universities are looking at an $81 million loss in room and board fees and other losses from the coronavirus pandemic. Schools are not yet allowed to apply for the Institutional Assistance Fund. That's according to Elon University. Public schools like UNC Greensboro and NCA&T are expected to get a larger portion of the aid. The Greensboro Virus Relief Task Force has granted more than $1.4 million to 69 local nonprofits. They have a goal to raise $2 million more to support relief efforts. For the past month, the task force has been helping those organizations, and this week alone, they granted more than $130,000. They're helping nonprofits who are helping others find housing, food, healthcare, and those assisting with education or organizations that have had business disruptions. The first human trials for a coronavirus vaccine are happening right now in Britain. Volunteers are getting the injection after just 3 months of development by a team of scientists at Oxford University. Normally, human trials would take years to develop. The World Health Organization says the vaccine has an 80% chance of being effective and could be ready by September. The Canadian mass shooting that killed at least 22 people started because of an argument between the gunman and his girlfriend. She survived the attack on Sunday, according to police. Authorities say the gunman acted alone in that shooting spree in Nova Scotia. Police now say he was shot and killed 13 hours after the attack. There are 16 crime scenes across 5 different communities.
Well, CBD oils are growing in popularity for at-home treatment, so it's no surprise that some are speculating that they can be used to treat coronavirus. But our Verified team says they don't.
On social media, you'll find all sorts of misinformation about COVID-19. That's why the Verified team is here. We fact-check those suspicious claims to separate fact from fiction. One question that we've seen is this: can CBD oil be used to help treat coronavirus? To find out, we turn to our sources: the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the World Health Organization, and the Food and Drug Administration. Let's start with the big headline here. Unfortunately, at this point, there's just no specific antiviral treatment recommended for COVID-19. And the FDA has been cracking down on companies who are profiting from unproven cures. The agency is sending warning letters to retailers with misleading claims, and that includes some who are selling CBD products. In their letters, the FDA writes that it's unlawful to, quote, advertise that a product can prevent, treat, or cure human disease unless you possess competent and reliable scientific evidence. For COVID-19, no such study is currently known to exist. We're also hearing from Attorney General William Barr, who said back in March that it should be a top priority to investigate and prosecute coronavirus-related fraud. So we can verify, at this time, CBD has not been approved to treat coronavirus. And at this point, if any seller tells you otherwise, they're breaking the law.
All right, we're talking about a forecast today with big changes coming up. The first thing I want you to notice is our futurecast here, and I'm going to put this in motion. That's Saturday morning, so you see some clouds, maybe some sprinkles in the northwest communities, start to overspread the area by afternoon. But when it starts to get a little rough, that's when we're looking at maybe that, say, 6 p.m. and later. Notice those little isolated, heavier thunderstorm cells. They could get severe in nature. All of this is really depending on our temperature. If that cold air holds in place, we probably won't see it much in the way of severe weather, but if it warms up substantially and rather quickly, we could see severe thunderstorms. And the risk of a tornado is very, very low, but still it is slightly there, although tiny. But 67 degrees for your Saturday with late day storms. That's about a 60% chance of that. Heading into Sunday, the rain chances do drop. It's probably a late day sprinkle if we see it, but some clearing there. We'll say variably cloudy, breezy on Sunday, and a little bit warmer with those high temperatures around 68 degrees. All right, so an Asheboro brewery has really stepped up here. We're talking about, virtual concerts, beer deliveries, you name it. They've done it. Hats off basically to Four Saints Brewing, who has done this. They really have changed their business model, and it's a lot of fun. Take a look.
When it all comes down, it's probably going the other way.
Man, you want to talk about good marketing and taking care of your customers? Nobody does that better than the friends at Four Saints Brewing in Asheboro. Joel McCloskey, the owner, is with us today. Now, you guys, with me being the musician side and music such a big part of my life, what you're doing with virtual concerts is really cool. Talk about that.
So we love our local musicians too, and so when the dine-in restriction happened, we had a number of independent local artists that were slated to play, and had the idea to put them up virtually through our Facebook page. With those the 6 that we've done, we've seen a couple thousand people have seen those different performers on Friday and Saturday nights.
Well, that's more than they get when they normally perform, some of these local bands in one setting. Tell me real quick about the virtual tip jar, because that was fascinating to me.
Yeah, that was that's something that they brought that idea to us, and I was like, well, absolutely. They put out the virtual tip jar, and some of them use Venmo, some of them use PayPal, And as people are watching them play, they can tip them.
That's very cool. All right, quickly, you guys are delivering now. How does this work?
You go online to foursaintsbrewing.com, and we're currently delivering to Asheboro, Franklinville, Ramsar, Randleman, and Seagrove here in Randolph County. And if it continues to go well, we will open up that delivery area.
Awesome. Joel, thanks for being with us today, man. Good luck. Keep it going. I'll be watching the virtual concerts.
It's really cool what they're doing. Of course, I love music, but these musicians are basically broadcasting from wherever they can. Four Saints allows them to get into their Facebook page and stream from there. Tonight they have William Nesmith is performing at 7:30 p.m. and tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. they have Kristen Lee, both great musicians. So pretty cool things they're doing.
Yeah, two things I love about this, Eric. One, it's safe, right? Because we're keeping our social distance. Everyone's safe in their houses. And two, it kind of creates that sense of normalcy because a lot of people do go to the brewery on a Friday or Saturday night to hear that live music. So now they can enjoy that safely.
And the musicians are getting, 2,000 or 3,000 people at a time. They'll never get that in small restaurants and bars and nightclubs. So it's a good thing for everybody.
Another perks, more exposure for them. We like it. All right, we are heading to break, but we are live on our Facebook page, WFMY News 2. Me, Eric, and Taheshah, we're all chatting with you there in the comment section, so hop on over and use our hashtag 4 to 5. We'll see you there.
Hi there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hello, 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 hello. A-Tech, thank you.
Welcome back to your 4 to 5. So the coronavirus pandemic, it canceled a North Carolina musical tradition. Merle Fest was supposed to start next week in Wilkes County. Instead, you can watch the festival from years past. Merle Fest is streaming the 2012 event this weekend, and you can tune in daily. They have the full list of acts on their website. That's merlefest.org. And Eric, I think this is such a good idea. I actually logged on earlier today. It is streaming on YouTube, and it's just a continuous stream. You don't need to log in. The link's right there on their website. Really easy to find.
That's right. Yeah, totally free. And, one thing that year, 2012, don't quote me on this, I think that's their 25th anniversary back then. Anyway, I do know that they had the Steep Canyon Rangers, which sometimes they're a bluegrass band with lots of banjos, but they'll pull Steve Martin in. Yes, the comedian Steve Martin, who plays a heck of a banjo. And he has shown up at Merle Fest multiple years. I don't know if he's in this one, but I know the Steep Canyon Rangers will be there today.
Yeah, my brother-in-law and his family have gone to Merle Fest, I believe, since it started. And I texted him today. I said, did you know this was happening? He said, no, that's so cool because, you know, they can't physically be here this year, but it's neat to have that experience, even if it is virtual.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So again, you can go to merlefest.org and it will link you to their YouTube stream there. All right, we're spreading more good news this afternoon. The Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, they're now in the business of sharing smiles. So today they held another spontaneous parade, this time in Clemens. The route started in Clemens West. It moved to the Waterford neighborhood and it finished at Springfield Farms. You can see from the pictures, people were able to get outside and celebrate with the Sheriff's Office, of course, from a distance.
And Thomasville City school employees gathered today for what they're calling a caravan, C-A-R-E. They would drive around to different neighborhoods to show students how much they care. Superintendent Dr. Kate Gentry says she feels the biggest concern teachers have for students is making sure they're okay. She says today was a good day for the parade in light of the governor's announcement.
But you know what, it's been really hard on our teachers too, so I think they're excited about being able to maybe not give the kids a high five or interact with them, but at least see them and make sure they're doing okay. So we just want to try to brighten a little day during this time.
Yeah, and you know, there's only so much you can do to put a smile on someone's face, you know, when you aren't able to be with them in person. So I love the idea of these parades, keeping that social distancing, but finding a way to put a smile on those students' faces. I know a lot of my friends that are teachers, and they are always trying to find one little thing that they can do for their students every day as they're teaching.
Right, and connect with them, because now we know that they won't go back to the classroom for the rest of the school year. So just having that reminder that your teacher's still there, he or she still cares about you. You know, as much as the students seem to enjoy that caravan, I bet the teachers and administrators were loving it too, to see their kids.
Yeah, it really is a two-way street, because as much as the kids are missing the students, you know, the kids are missing their teachers, I should say. Teachers also missing their students.
Very cool. I hope we see more of those caravans in the next few days. All right, Eric, what's the forecast looking like?
So in the short term, we're looking pretty good. We're watching our satellite and radar combination here. The next system is way out to the west of us, but it will be here by tomorrow evening, we think. So what does all this mean? We do have a severe thunderstorm risk, although we're only in the marginal area here. This is from the Storm Prediction Center, but the marginal is on the lower end of things. However, we're right on the edge. So if that cooler air hangs in a little bit longer, we won't see severe weather. If we warm up substantially, we will. And you can see almost every county in the viewing area in the marginal, it drops down to non-severe, which really isn't an issue, but that's for our Southern Virginia counties. And also Stokes and looks like Caswell and Rockingham County, the northern just edge of those counties, are probably out of the risk area as well. Impacts between about 5 p.m. and 2 a.m. we could see strong winds and hail. The tornado risk is low, but it is there if we warm up. If we don't, we won't see much of anything. Futurecast, you can see the time period again as we head into the afternoon. It really starts to pick up in that 5 p.m. and on into the overnight hours. We're thinking by about 1 to 2 a.m. if we get anything at all, it'll be out of here, we hope, by then. I want to show you the extended forecast. We haven't had a chance to talk about that 7-day. 67 tomorrow. The storms, if we get them, will be late day. 68 on Sunday, and rain probably fizzling out a little bit, but it will be breezy. And then Monday, Tuesday are beautiful. 67 and 70, all sunshine there. Some clouds and storms again with 68 Wednesday. Slight rain chance, but clearing Thursday and Friday of next week. A week from today is beautiful. Sunshine and a high of 70.
Coming up on WFMY News 2 at 5, people came out in droves to pick up masks in Winston-Salem. Some locations sold out on the first day of sales for the city's Mask the City initiative, where residents are asked to wear masks through the end of next month. The plan to get everyone a mask at 5 o'clock.
right, so if you've scrolled through social media lately, I bet you've seen some homemade baked goods. More people are turning to baking while they're in their homes, maybe relieving a little stress, Taheshah.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to hear from you at home. So I posted that on my Facebook page. I said, what are you baking? Show me your pictures. Let's take a look at what all of you have sent in. So our first photo here is of some cookies, and the caption here says, Cuzzo baked these just for James and I. They were great. And you have to use, you know, the Frosted Flakes tiger voice for that. The next photo here is from Greg. He writes, strawberries were going to go bad, so tiny cobblers. There you go. And that looks really good, Greg. Another comment here comes from Dakova, who sent in this photo of a cinnamon roll. Now that I really feel like I could take a bite of in this moment. Joe, he decided to go a little more savory here. He sent in a photo of a jalapeno cheese ball. So Maddie, you know, I have some brownies in my cupboard that I baked last weekend.
She froze because the
working on it. I think I have about
delicious.
2. Yes, no, they were great, and I plan to make some more this weekend. Do you find yourself baking anytime while we've been kind of cooped up at home, Maddie?
No, I sure don't, Taheshah, but you know what? You live really close to me, so I feel like we could do some kind of exchange. I don't know what I can give you, but I know that if you're making brownies again, I am happy to take a few off your hands because, you know, you don't want them laying around.
You know what, let's make it a date. We'll do a social distancing date. I'll make you some brownies and I'll leave them for you, and then you can come and swing on by and get them.
She keeps freezing up when we're trying to talk about the good stuff, the baked goods. I'll text her. It's cool. All right, we're going to break. We'll see you after this.